Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stand Up Speakeasy. I am your host, Rethne, and every episode I bring a comic from all over the country and we talk about their comedy journey so far. And this next comic, I met him in Jacksonville and we performed at a restaurant, which the mic is no longer there, but fortunately, he has his own at a CBD cafe on Old St. Augustine Road in Jacksonville. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage is CJ Couch. Hey, CJ, how are you, dude?
What's up, dude? How are you?
Great,
I'm
thank you.
doing
Thanks.
good. You asked me first. Sorry. I went so robot mode right there.
It's all good. Thank you for being my guest today. It means a lot.
Oh, dude. Thanks for having me on. I love you, dude. I always love hanging out with you.
Oh, Ditto. I love hanging out with you too. It's a lot of fun for sure. It's like it was a I love watching you perform stand up and like I love watching you laugh when I do stand up and I'm like
Dude,
it
you
just
make me laugh in a way that's worth watching. Like most of the time, I'm not jaded from it at all, but I'm like not listening so much. And I like the first time I saw you, I remember laughing so hard. And then you're one of the few that I continue to laugh so hard, you know? Like you keep me
awesome.
laughing.
Awesome. I do my best as I try to be as clean as I can because I don't like to say curse words, but I love getting really dirty though.
I was about to say that's so funny. Like you're trying to be clean with curse words, but you talk about the raunchiest shit, dude. Like you talk, like you talk about very not clean stuff.
And in full detail too, which is
Yeah, very specific, analytical.
yep, I try to, paint pictures with words, and you're covered in paint, so you know these things.
Oh, dude, yeah. So sorry I had to we postponed this. I was like, I got to push it back. I'm working. I don't want to be covered in paint when I do this. But I was overzealous in thinking I could finish this job in one day, and I went for it, and I still didn't do it, but I tried, and ended up spilling paint and had to clean it. It was just this whole thing, dude. But I did manage to get it out of my hair, so that's pretty cool. And then I thought about changing and putting on another shirt, and I was like, what kind of douche would I be doing that? And then it's still on my hands. Like I was like, whatever. I just I actually went on stage like this last night.
Yeah, I saw Herman posted it on Facebook, and he goes, "I love this kid. He just like covered in paint and just going on stage and toast." And I left like a heart
Dude,
reaction because I'm like, "That's my dude right there. He's just awesome. Like I would do the same thing if I
Herman's
was. He's
great,
yeah.
dude.
Like
One
I.
of
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
no, he's one of my favorite people. Same thing. I'm getting lucky in that I've only been doing it a year, but all the people that are veterans that I enjoy watching, I really enjoy being friends with. Like they're everyone like you, Herman, like so cool off stage, like to me and accepting and willing to talk and not make me feel like an inferior,
Yep.
like they never make me feel like they're the superior and I'm on a lower level. Y'all have just been so cool to me. But it's ironic that you usually hear all these funny guys are jerks, but they're actually always the coolest ones so far for me.
Indeed, for sure, and that's what I love about Jacksonville scene is like, well, the majority of them, the ones that aren't in cliques are good, you
See,
know.
I started in last February. So it's been just over a year, but it's been the COVID thing. So I don't necessarily even know clicks per se.
Mm, you'll
Like,
get there.
yeah, like I hope so. I'm gonna try.
Indeed, like I found out, like like I've been to, like in too many small towns with cliques, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna be. I'm happy by myself. Because what if like two cliques don't get along with each other, and I can't get on that other show, and I love.
Yeah,
It's like
that
just
sucks.
yeah,
I
just
I have I don't know. I it doesn't seem like maybe I'm just meeting people that are a part of that one clique though. You
yeah.
know, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like maybe I'm just meeting that clique and I don't even know about the other ones because that's one of them and I'm just with them. But I don't know.
Indeed, most definitely. But yeah, we were trading pictures of our clothes with paint on it, and like my jeans were covered in like black paint because like when I was out in LA, the guy in the middle, who is Clive Barker, he goes, "Hey, I want you to paint one of my rooms completely black, and I have a photo shoot. I just want you to just go crazy." And I'm like, "All right, sure." He goes, "Oh, I love what you did with this room. Let's do another one." And I'm like, "Okay." So he was like, another person that worked there. He goes, what are you doing with brushes? Just use your hands and just like finger paint the
Just
crap
get
out of
in there.
your clothes." Yeah. He goes, "Don't Tom Sawyer this or whatever." And I'm like, "All right." So I just kept on using my hands and stuff, and it's just pretty dope how it all turned out.
So they clearly didn't care about the quality of it.
Nope.
Like, so you're
It's
kind of doing this like art piece of like, this is an all black room. Like, you painted everything black. Did you paint the ceiling?
yeah. I used the ceiling. Used a big old roller, and like paint dripped all over me, and that's how the paint got all over me.
Yeah, dude.
And I had my head shaved, and so like I just rinsed it off, and it was all done and everything. And so I was like,
Did you get any in the eye?
I didn't know, which is great.
It's the worst. Like, I've had it before, but the worst time actually was a couple of weeks ago, which I'm a veteran now. I've been doing it 10 years. Like, how dare I make these mistakes? But, dude, it went straight in, like, swished
Oh,
right. Dude, it burned. So I thought I was going to go blind. I was, like, having a panic attack. I ran straight to the sink and was, like, rinsing it out. It was one of the most afraid moments of my life. I was so scared, dude. Like,
right.
I mean, it's straight up paint in my eyes. Like, I legitimately thought I'm gonna go blind from this and not be able to, like, I won't be able to see out of my right eye. And I went through all that thought. That was horrible.
Dang.
We're good though.
Absolutely. I used to work in the paint department at Home Depot because I
What
wanted
have
to
you
go
not
from.
done? Like,
I've done everything: restaurants, Home Depot, journalist,
yeah, dude.
Clive Barker's apprentice,
Yeah, I was gonna say painting
comedian.
rims black as an art project. Like, you're kind of a project in itself doing it. Like, they should have
Yeah,
just filmed the whole thing.
it
Did
would have
they?
been rad. I wish they did, but they didn't. And
Dude, that'd be a sick time lapse, bro.
oh heck yeah, dude, it would have been super sick. But I loved every minute of, well, like spending time with Clive and like learning all that stuff and being an artist and stuff. So he was my teacher pretty much because
That's so cool.
I was a pretty bad student in high school, middle school, and elementary and college. So
You've
I was
met some great people.
big time, like
Yeah.
accidentally too. Like I never expected it, and so they just appeared in my life. So I'm like, oh cool, I'll just sure welcome to my life. So
Well, you're so interesting and like you like when I see you there or whatever, like the first time, I was just like, I want to know what this kid's about. Like I don't know him at all. Like you know what I mean? There's something about you where like you look like you're interesting. And then you kind of live up to it. Like you're more interesting than you look. But like when I was like, there's something about him that I want to like I wanted to talk to you after. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we're doing mics, I don't know somebody, and when they're funny, like you made me laugh. So I was obviously like, dude, that was really funny, whatever. But I don't necessarily care to like, oh, let's. And I do love making friends. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but I'm saying like I'm not always gonna like, whoa, like turn it on to try to make friends. And I was like, I've got to talk to this kid. Like that set was fucking so different. Like it was so different
indeed, I
in a
think it's
great way.
because thank you. I owe it all to Daytona Beach because they turned me into a better comic than I was in the very beginning. Because like they're like, just be who you are, just be weird, be strange, just say all those things that are out in your head, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
dude.
all right. So,
I've only been out there one time, and it was really fun. It was like the first mic at whatever place that it was at, the Hideout or something like that. Maybe it has
yep.
pool tables in it.
Yep. I tried perform like I was there once, but I didn't stay to perform because of all the smoking, and I just don't like smoke. And so that's
Yeah,
why I just
yeah.
go to the Trinidad Irish pub because there's no smoking inside. And when the comedy show's happening, they stop the pool, and so it's like it's nice and quiet and very intimate and everything. So
I
I
heard that
highly
place
recommend it.
is awesome.
Yeah, you should come out there because it's on a Wednesday night. You can just meet up in Palm Coast and we'll drive out there together. But I stick to the very end because I photograph everybody, and I'm the DJ. So
Dude,
they
I'll
just
stay. I don't give a fuck. I'll stay late.
cool, dude.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we'll
I'd
make it
love
happen.
that.
It's the coolest room ever. So.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Sorry, I just got up because my cats, well, it's actually my roommate's cats, but I consider them mine now. My cat was just like hissing and going crazy. And I was like, what's happening? But as always, it's just the cat. That's a really mean cat. Like, really mean.
That's good to know.
Yeah, like, you know Travis Santo?
Hmm.
Okay, so this cat is notorious for, like, it will bite you, it will scratch you. There's no getting around it. If you're walking by, it will attack you. I don't understand what's wrong with this thing because it doesn't have malice in its heart. It's doing it playfully, but you still bleed and stuff. You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck? But Travis comes over, and this cat was cool. Like this cat he's the only person in history, even to the owner, that it liked. So Travis is a good person,
Yep.
one you can trust.
And animals know those things too. They have that animal instinct. So.
Yes, and this cat has like hates everybody, so he must be a really good dude. Like Travis must be a really good dude if this cat
Absolutely.
didn't even bite him.
So I understand that you grew up as an only child, and what was that like being an only child growing up?
It was cool. My mom had cancer when I was in 1997 when I was like 4, and then I turned 5, and she wasn't supposed to live to see me go to kindergarten, you know. So there was this crazy miracle. It's this crazy story, but it's a miracle, and she ends up living, and she like took that opportunity to like try to make her life or my life as good as possible through what she did. So I was just with her all the time. Like you know when a mom would come to school to like it wouldn't be that cool. Like people wouldn't be like, "Oh," they'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like my mom would come and bring me lunch cuz I lived a block away from my elementary school. She would come and bring me lunch almost every day. And it was like a thing, dude. Like people loved it. Like people would come and sit outside with us. Like my mom was also younger. Like she had me when she was 22. So like she looked young. So she didn't seem like a mom, you know? Like she was cool and like fun. So I just always like hung out with her even when I hung out with my friends. Like when I dated girls going up in high school and they would come over and like hang out with my mom and I would be not even home sometimes, you know? It was just I was always with her. So it wasn't like a brother sister thing, like I respected her, but that's like in a weird way the closest thing to a sibling that I have. But I was still like alone a lot, you know, like I didn't literally hang out with her all the time. I grew up in a neighborhood, so we were always like outside playing and all that. But being the only child, I think it's kind of what got me into comedy because I feel like a lot of people that have older brothers, they just they get into things or older sisters based off of what they get told, you know what I mean? Or what they're doing. So for me, like I was just browsing through channels as a kid. And like when I found something, I really liked it. So like comedy was one of those things. Like I was watching like specials, all those Comedy Central presents and stuff when I was like a young kid. So I would only watch Comedy Central, MTV, MTV2, and Nickelodeon, and then ESPN. But like, I never watched Cartoon Network. I've never watched the Disney Channel. Like, I don't know about Tom and Jerry. I don't know about any Disney stuff, including like Cinderella and like whatever. But I was like found weird things like comedy. Like, not a lot of young kids are like watching comedy, you know. And also because I was alone, it I don't think my mom would have cared and my dad wouldn't either, but like I watched comedy. I didn't have that, oh, that's bad, you shouldn't be watching that. Like that whatever. I was watching it at a young age. So it was kind of just like always really cool to me. But I didn't think of it as like a job necessarily, you know. I didn't understand that at all. Like podcasting taught me the reality of what a stand up is and like the route and the whole like time invested and really doing something Like if you're doing it, you really have to love it if you keep doing it, because luckily I knew going in it was going to suck in terms of like seeking approval and getting it instantly, you know? Because that's what we want, obviously. We want or recognition or whatever, you know? Um, I knew it was going to be a long road, so like it doesn't affect me, but podcast, I feel like are why some people are doing comedy and they're like have like a mature mind state at a young at like an early stage in their development, you know, like what we're doing right now. Like some kid could be watching this, and I'm no comic, like don't take me wrong, like I'm not trying to be like we're comics, but you are. And like some kid could be watching this, and like think about some kid who's 8 years old right now watching something like this, like I was, but on a new level. Like if that kid decides to do stand up and stays with watching stuff like this, they're going to have such a they're going to be 20 steps ahead of everybody's thinking on what being a stand up actually is. So I feel like that's a big part of it. Just at the beginning is figuring out what you're even doing.
Absolutely. And it's like it's true what you said. Like I have like an older sister, and like in the very beginning, she was like very influential in my life. And then like when we became adults and I was like 18, I was like I started branching off and did my own thing. And so we kind of like we were close, and then we just grew apart. And I'm like such a lonely bird. Like
What's the
this
age
year,
difference?
I like a year.
Oh, dang, it's that close, dude.
Yeah, like maybe under a year. But she lives in Colorado. I live in Florida, and we just have we're like totally polar opposites.
See,
And like
being an only child, I just assume, like, don't take this the wrong way. I don't get how you're not super close with a sibling. And I've dated girls who aren't close. Like, I get it. But to me, it's like, that's so crazy to me. Like, that you guys could be that close, but not close, you know?
I
Like,
think
I'm not, I don't know. It blows my mind.
I blame it on our zodiac signs, to be honest with you. Cause like my
Are you
parents,
serious?
yeah, my parents and my sister are all grouped together,
What
and
zodiac signs?
like my dad's a Taurus, and he's an Earth sign, and like me, I'm a Capricorn,
Mm-hmm.
and my sister is a Gemini, and then my mom's a Cancer. So it's like they're like May, June, and the end of June, and I'm way in December. Like, so it's just like I'm way out there. So
So explain to me how that works. What does that even mean? Like, I'm a Leo, right?
mhm.
What does that mean for me and you, right? Like how we interact.
I really never looked up Leo, so I couldn't tell you. So I'm just really like concerned about like my entire thing. I don't really know. I'm just like
I've
Capricorn.
never met a person who like knows about zodiac stuff, but only their sign. Like everybody gets like knows about everything, and you're just like, I only know about what Capricorn.
Yeah,
That's it. You've only ever looked up Capricorn.
pretty
Do you
much.
know all the zodiac signs? I don't.
Uh, I just well, there's 12 of them, of course, but I just pay attention to like mine and like my family's, and then like my best friend because he's a Virgo, so he's a fellow Earth sign too. And like I recently like my friend goes, "All right, what are all of your signs?" And I'm like, "What do you mean all of my signs? I just know I'm a Capricorn." And she goes, "No, you put your birth like the year the time you were born at night or day, and it'll tell you." Um, and I'm like, all right, there's four signs here. And I'm like, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Aries, I'm a Capricorn, and I'm something else. But
Did it change the way you look at yourself as a human being?
it did because like I was reading all those memes on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, that's so true. But I
Like
shouldn't
I
really.
shouldn't have gone down this rabbit hole, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so like
Was there a?
curious.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just so curious about like where my life is heading, and I shouldn't go to Casadega or anything because there's a lot of like psychics there, and I'm like I'm just gonna stay home and just get my tarot read on YouTube, and I just
Dude, was there ever a
too
sign? Like,
funny.
was one of those signs that you were? Were you like pissed? Were you like, "Fuck, I'm one of those signs"? You know?
Yeah, the other one was Aries, so I'm really mad about the Aries part. I'm not a, well when I have to be mean, I'll be mean, and it's just don't get that mean side out of me.
Okay,
It's the worst.
explain what your sign is. Like, what about your sign is the general you, like that makes up you, makes you identify with it, I guess.
They say I'm a natural born leader, in which I am, and I get things done,
Yes.
and so it's like I'm just like, oh, cool. Those are the only two things that I remember out of it. I don't really study it that much,
So
so
you're really not into astrology that much. You just blame the like disarray in your family on astrology
Miss
signs.
and Miss Cleo, Miss
Miss
Cleo
Cleo,
too.
yeah. Well, that's valid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I blame everything on her and the expensive phone bills that came along with it. So
So when you did that, right? You're being serious right now. You actually did that.
I really didn't call her. No, I was just messing around with
Okay, I
Miss
was gonna
Cleo.
say, dude, that's what was going through your head. Were you being genuine in that phone call? That's sad, honestly, when you really think about it. Like
Yeah,
beyond the I don't want to be mean and say idiot, but it's pretty dumb to do that, right?
yeah,
But most people know that. But imagine how desperate you have to be to do that on a regular basis.
true. That's why I don't.
Doing it one time, people get desperate in life and look for answers in weird places. I get one time, but to do it a lot is like pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty,
So I try to not
pretty
to do
cool.
it that much because I'm just like, I don't. I'm just gonna pay attention to my sign and see what the memes say.
Yeah.
And
Do you ever like? Is this a daily thing for you? Or are you waking up making decisions based on it? Because I know people live their lives based on like they make investments. Like if it says like today's a day to go for gold or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
oh no, I just let it come to me naturally.
Okay.
Like just
So
let that magnetic force pull it to me, and I'm just like, all right, whatever like the creator throws at me, like a fast pitch, I'll just knock it out of the park every time, like a
so
fastball.
on my old podcast, I used to when people would say they're into astrology, I would play it like okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain, I'm going to read you your sign, right? And you're going to tell me if it's on point or not. And I was like, I want you to be honest though, whatever. And every single time I would read it and they would go, that's perfect, it's on point. But I actually would be reading them my sign every single time.
That's
Every
just.
time.
And did you
So
tell him in the end?
yeah, that was the point. Yeah, because I was arguing. I wasn't arguing with them, but it's a podcast. It's me and one other person I'm interviewing. Like I'm gonna push back on stuff like that and be like, if I don't agree with it, I'm gonna be like, I don't believe that. Let's talk about it. So it wasn't contentious, but I'd always be like, I think that's bullshit. And then I'd put the onus on them. Like, be honest if this is what it is, and maybe it's because they believe in it. They're on the spot and they're trying to defend their position, they're going to say yes. Like it might be disingenuous, but there's so much going on that they actually do feel like that's what it is. Like they really feel like I have to relate to this and they do, but they really don't. It's just, it's all general. Like,
Indeed.
but I don't think it's a bad thing. Like I wouldn't not date somebody because they're into astrology signs, but I'll challenge you on a podcast.
Sure, whenever you bring that back, because I know that you quit doing the podcast like a year ago.
Yeah.
But growing up, you said that you were watching a lot of ESPN and baseball and golf are on ESPN a lot. And what got you heavily involved into baseball and golf?
Jesus. So I was fast. So when you're a kid playing baseball, like you're gonna play t-ball, whatever. When you can hit the ball to the outfield, you could score. You could get a home run because by the time you're on second base, this kid's maybe throwing the ball at that point, and then he's not good at it. So I seemed like I was really good because I was just hitting the ball to the outfield and then running fast. So I got on a bunch of teams and stuff. And from a very early age, dude, I'm talking like 8 years old, every single day of the year, maybe 30 days of the year, I'm not practicing or playing in a game. So it was really intense and serious. And I got burnt out. And it was early too, dude. I mean, it was probably 12 years old that I was already burned out. And my dad's like, all right, you can't not do anything, because I had started playing guitar. I was all emo and skateboarding. You know, he was freaking out. Like the professional baseball players, he's quitting baseball and he's playing guitar and ugh. And I just I had to pick a sport, and I picked golf because I always was drawn to it, and I did from watching ESPN. Like Tiger Woods was sick, you know. So I was like, all right, and I didn't want to play football. I'd already done that. And I'm just a puss, dude. Like, that was another thing, being fast. You just get a touchdown. You just run. Because no one's fast. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I was good. I was just fast. Like, you just run. Like, so, but when it got to tackle time, if I didn't score a touchdown, I hated it because you're getting drilled. And I'm a puss, dude. I'm not trying to be some fucking tough guy. I'm not playing football. And I was short. Like, I'm 6 foot now, but I had a huge growth spurt when I was 15, 16. Like, I went from 5'3", 5'4" to like around where I am now in like a summer. Like, it was nuts. And basketball was never in the cards, you know? I never even played recreational. So I just said, fuck it, I'm playing golf. And from playing baseball and having good hand-eye coordination, it came natural. And my dad played golf. My mom started playing because I started, and we just went full steam ahead. And here we go back to, oh, you can be a professional golfer. Like, one thing I'm really big on and what I want to be as a parent is, hey, you're really good at baseball. You could have so much fun for the rest of your life playing baseball. Not, you're really good at baseball. You need to become a professional baseball player. You know?
Mhm.
Like, there's a big difference between the thinking of doing something for fun and doing something to become a professional. Like, you become a professional because you're doing it for fun. It just happens to be what you do. Like, you can make money doing it. And I don't know. It was way too serious, dude. Like, when I remember being 9, 10 years old, and you could hear the ball sizzling. Like, our coach was serious. Like, he played baseball, you know, like at a very high level. And hey, kitty, he would hit the ball so hard. I'm not bullshitting. Like, you could hear the ball sizzling as it came to you. And if you missed it, you had to run and get it and then take a lap. And it got to the point where I'm getting, like, I was a good fielder. That is one thing. Like, I was never a great hitter, but I was pretty sharp defensively. And part of that is getting hit with the ball, like stopping it and then picking it up and getting the throw instead of getting the outfield. So I was getting hit so hard from those balls. I'm like, I'm fucking 9 years old, dude. So I would just miss them on purpose and I'll take a lap, dude. You know, like,
Yeah.
but at 9 years old, like, that's way too much, you know? Like, I'm not saying poor me. Like, it did nothing to me. Like, it's not why I have the mental deficiencies I have, but it's why I didn't love baseball. I loved it at first, you know? And same with golf in a way. Like, I stopped loving it. I love it so much now that I play for fun. And I'm better than I've ever been, which sucks because there's no point to it now. But, like, treating something like I'm doing this to become a professional and be rich as fuck and it's the best life, instead of I'm doing it because I love it, is like the main reason I think I'm doing stand up. Like, I make good money doing this. My family owns the wallpaper store. Like, whenever I take that over, I could technically not even do any physical work and live a normal life just off the store. But like, I want to do this. Like, I would rather make a third, a quarter of that money and do stand up. And that was my thinking was never like that before. Like, it was always, I'm doing this so I could be rich and have this crazy awesome life, and it's why everything that I ever loved that I went after, I ended up hating it. It sucks.
Indeed. Like my very first sport thing I did was karate class, and I realized that I'm never gonna get past purple belt because I can't break a piece of wood. So
That's a
I'm just
high belt, I thought.
not really. It was like white, orange, green, and or maybe purple. I don't even know. It's been years.
How many belts are there?
There's a couple like brown and black, but I never really got that far. I think I got to purple. It was white, orange, and purple, and then green, blue, brown, and black. And
How
then
old are
there's
you?
I was like 9, but I was just such a wimp that I couldn't break a piece of wood. And I'm like, why should I break a wood? Like this is just ridiculous. Like
I
I
like
break,
wood.
yeah. It's like I just don't see what this whole Mortal Kombat thing is. Then again, it's karate class, and so I'm like, and then my dad was like, "All right, so no more sports for you. You can just come work with me at the restaurant." And I was stuck working for my dad for like 9 years, and so I never pursued any more sports.
What kind
And
of restaurant?
Oriental restaurant, so there was like Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese, just everything.
Dude, my family owned a Mexican restaurant. I grew up in a Mexican restaurant. It's fun.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm looking for a jacket. I'm about to smoke a cig, and it's laundry day, and I have no jacket.
Oh, for sure. And my dad told me, either you work bell to bell for me or you go to school. And I'm like, all right, I'll go to school. So,
So, where is this?
back home in Colorado,
Dude, Colorado just seems like one of the great final destinations in life.
it is. That's why I'm going back there and retiring and gonna settle down.
You're gonna when?
I'm gonna tour the entire Central Time Zone and hit up 12 cities and spend a month each next year. I'm saving up now, and then when I turn 40, which is the year after that, I know I don't look that old, but I am.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna settle down in Colorado, and then live the rest of my life out there.
What do you mean settle down? Like you're just gonna?
Get a relationship, maybe some kids. I don't know. We'll see what happens because I can't predict the future. But I'm just gonna just settle down finally because I moved around so much that I'm just like I'm tired. I just want to build a scene in my hometown in Pueblo, and because my festival is there, and it's just easier to do everything and help book bands to certain venues and comics and bring comedy back there. Because I'm just tired. I just really just go out with a bang and just go into those 12 different cities and spend a month each just to
So
explore.
you're 38.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. 28. I guess 10 years would be like. How long you been doing comedy?
6 years, but or 8 years, but 6 years consistently.
What made you start? I'm interviewing
Oh,
you now.
okay. Well, the picture that I sent you, Clive. He goes, "You always come back." And whenever I talk to him, because he's a busy man, but whenever we had our heart to heart conversations, he was like, "Have you ever, with your funny stories, have you ever considered doing stand up?" And I'm like, "Nope, not in a million years." And he
Yeah.
goes, "Promise me that there's other people that work here. I can't make it out there because but perform stand up at least one time before you leave LA." And that's what I did. I performed stand up in LA one time at a Studio City coffee shop called the Jump Cut Cafe. And I dressed up as Wu Manchu, my superhero alter ego, because I was so nervous and so scared. And like the guy goes, I know it's the craziest story from like beginning to end. And like the host was like, "Hey, do you got 5 more minutes?" And like that the West Hollywood bathhouse joke is still on my set. And like from that first time doing it. But it was like it transformed into something better, and uh, and and so the host was like, "Hey, I need you to do 5 more minutes," but I already had changed out of my clothes. I went from Wu-Tang to Rage Against the Machine, and he goes, and my mask was gone, everything was gone. And he goes, "Hey, I need you to do 5 more minutes." I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, dude." And I'm the manager. He goes, "So you're playing an Eddie Kaufman on me, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I moved back home, did more to Colorado, did more mics. And then I said, "Hey, I'm moving to Florida, and I was hoping to, leave before Thanksgiving because my family was already out here. My parents were already out here." And because my dad was like, "You're not really doing anything with your life. Just move in back in with us." And I was managing a band, but but we were going a lot of places, but I didn't make any money. So they go,
Yeah. You
we're
told me
tired
about that.
of
That's fucking crazy.
yeah.
Cool experience.
So, yeah, and then I was hoping to leave before Thanksgiving, and so I said, "Hey, just want a going away party in October." And then that's when I tagged one member of each band and each comic that I even interviewed and did reviews for, all the locals, and they said we all went into this, and then I booked everybody. And then my first show ever was 4 months later, and it was weird because you just go from open mic to festival, and then there's your first show after that
Huge.
4 months later. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
dude.
doesn't happen that way. It's just so out of order. What is order?
Right.
But it's
Seriously.
just a roast, and it's on YouTube, and people roasted me, and it was fantastic, and I enjoyed that whole experience. And then I moved out here,
It
and
was
then
fantastic.
yep, I did open
Dude,
mics.
like, I don't know if it's because I'm such a Jacksonville kid and I still, like, hit a gravity bong. I obviously did it before this. You just geek me the fuck out, dude. Like, you
Oh,
always make me laugh so hard.
thank you.
I'm not laughing at you. Don't take it that way at all. It's not like that. It's just, it was fantastic. It was perfect.
Indeed. Yeah, I try to make jokes out of real life situations, and
When
I'm
you
just
sent me that picture,
see.
I said, dude, I need to take a shower. I'm covered in paint. And you said, this is me next to a big painting. It's just a picture of you next to a painting. That was like perfect.
Indeed. I was just having so much, and that's that's the doorway from the second photo is the third, is like the base, like that big old painting is like was in the basement, like in the big studio, because in the front it looks like a really small house, but then when you go in there, there's another door that drops down 3 levels, and that painting is in the bottom, the basement. It was pretty rad. But
Pretty rad. So you're like moving to Jacksonville. You came to Jacksonville, or where'd you move?
to Palm Coast. So
Palm
I'm pretty much,
Coast, dude.
yeah.
I
So
love it
I'm,
out there. I used to date a girl whose family had a like one of those condos at the Hammock Beach Resort,
mhm.
and she obviously had a key for it. And we would go all the time, dude. I love it down there.
It's
Love
pretty
it.
rad. It's centrally located, and I'm glad like Crosswalker's like next to me, sort of, because he moved down
Yeah,
here.
Cross is over there now.
Yeah, and he goes, "I love it here, Sir." It's like you're an hour away from Jacksonville, Daytona, and Orlando, and it's like you get up all those 3 scenes, and whenever you get tired of one of them, you can just go to another one, and it's like it's true. It's fantastic.
So, Cross's mom came last night to my Mike at CBD. It's on Thursdays now. Did I tell you that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I,
on Thursdays at 8. So his mom came, and like I said, I went up not wearing this exact thing, but wearing these. I look just like this, and I was talking about my life as I do. Like my mom and working for my dad and all this shit. And after the show, she comes up and she's like, you have to be Ron Couch's son, like, right?" And she's like, "I was just listening. It's like, you have to be." And I was like, yeah. She used to work for my dad.
whoa, that's
Yeah,
tricky.
dude. Cross's mom is cool as hell, man. Cross is great too. Like,
Yep.
like he's a cool dude. Like, he's also, like, he's been at the cafe since day one. So he's like, I consider there's like a couple of people who are at the cafe since day one and have always been, and we all like kind of started around the same time. Cross started before me, but we're all like coming up together. You know what I mean? Like, I consider them like not competition. Like, I consider them like brothers. Like, I want to like help them. Like, I want us to all flourish together.
Indeed. It's a
Yeah.
trip knowing that you worked with your family. I worked with my family. Your dad's name is Ron. My dad's name is Ron. It's a
Whoa, really?
yeah. It's
Dude,
trippy
same
out,
dad.
dude. So you work for your family's business, which is the Mandarin Wallpaper and Decorating.
Hmm.
And how long have you been there and all that stuff? What do you do?
So my dad was working at DeLeon's, my grandfather's from my mom's side, and so was my mom. And he started doing tile work. He's always done like hard ass work, you know. Um, my parents got together when they were 15 and 17, and got married at 19 and 17. They dropped out of high school in like 10th grade. So my dad's just always done all this different shit, like 3 jobs. You know what I mean? And it's funny that they do that because they did that because when you describe that, you think like I turned out fucked up and like did drugs, and I mean I still smoke weed, but like I don't do anything like I used to. And they're like straight edge. Like it was just a different time. It was like my dad found the woman that he loved, she loved him, and it was like let's just start our lives. You know, it's weird. Like my dad dropped out in the 10th grade. Like that's so strange to me. And he's wildly successful now, but it's legitimate hard work. Like, do you think that exists now? Like, are there kids dropping out in 10th grade other than on the internet? I guess that's what it is, the internet. That's how you do it. But he started doing tile, and tile's kind of like doing wallpaper on the floor in a weird way. And there's this wallpaper guy who came to a job my dad was working at. He pulled up in a new car. He wasn't dirty like how I am now, and like he looked clean. He worked for like 2 hours, and it seemed easy. And when he was leaving, my dad was like, "Dude, that's like, how much did you just make?" The guy told him. My dad's like, "Whoa," and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll teach you." And that was like 30 years ago, and I'm 28. So he worked with that guy, figured it out, and the store that we own now used to be a one-stop shop. Like it was, the whole building was paint place, flooring, everything you need for your house, cabinets, whatever you need. And it was owned by different people, but there weren't doors separating. It was one wide open thing. And there was this long list of wallpaper hangers, and he went there and asked to be on it and got on it, and eventually worked his way to number one on the list. And an opportunity came up to buy it in 2003, and he pulled the trigger on it and took the risk, bought it, and cut the list down because my dad's all about reputation and shit like that. Like treating people really good and not being late and not fucking up beyond because it's the right thing to do. But like it, especially in what we do, that's how you do more work for people and get referred and build a business, you know? So he turned a list of like almost 50 wallpaper hangers into 20, and then into 15, and now it's just me and him and one other guy. Two other guys.
Damn.
And yeah, we're the busiest we've ever been right now, dude. Like I'm not conspiratorial with COVID at all, but the economy is got to be in either some huge bubble that's going to burst or truly not doing that bad right now because everywhere I go, everything's on fire. There's 1,300 home neighborhoods being built that I'm working in that are sold, all 1,300 lots with
Wow.
700,000 and up houses. There's all this work going on. We had the best year we've ever had. Like, I don't know. Everything's going really good. It's not, you know, I never thought I'd be a really excellent wallpaper hanger and a like one of the best painters in town. I didn't see that coming in my life. It's weird to be good at that. Like, that's my skill. I can paint really good and hang wallpaper. It's pretty fucking weird, but I don't know. It's it's not something. It's the perfect thing for what I do with comedy because I could not like I do it comedy because I enjoy it so much, and I have this job that I will never be able to miss a mic for. Like I'll never be able to be like, oh, I can't do this, you know, because it's my thing. Like I work for myself now, essentially. Like I get jobs through the store, but I don't work alongside my dad, so I'm doing my own thing. So it's like I can cancel something. I'm not going to get fired. I can take time off. Like I just had a huge job and I'm doing, I actually wanted to talk to you about this. So I'm working this upcoming week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just to make like, I don't want to say how much money, but just to make a good amount of money. And I'm finishing up this outside of a big house tomorrow. So I'm going to have like a perfect amount of money to be able to take time off. And I'm too busy to take a lot of time off. But I was thinking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, flying somewhere like Austin or somewhere cool and just doing a bunch of mics somewhere new and not being here. If you want to come, I'm going to probably just go alone, but I'm asking you if you want to.
That'd be fun. Well, I don't have money saved up for that. If my stim hits before then, sure. But
Oh, dude! Oh my God! If stimulus hits, if I get my stimulus check, dude, I might just buy your shit anyways. But if I get my stimulus check, I seriously will. I'm not even kidding. Because I'm gonna get an Airbnb regardless, so it makes no difference on if you come or not. And an extra plane ticket, fuck it, we can drive. I got a new car now. But
you got rid of your Honda?
no, that's what I'm saying. It's a newer car. Like I don't have my old Dodge Durango that I would not drive to Austin.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, we have the same car, baby. Love
Hell
it.
yeah, dude. Heck yeah. We have so many things we have in common. It's just tripping me out right now. It's like my parents are like they met when they were teenagers too, and then like they dropped out of high school too, and
Shut
then
up.
yeah, and they're like, and they're well off now, which is crazy.
Right.
It's like how like they have like the mind of an immigrant, and it's like but now like my dad's like happily semi-retired because he never doesn't want to stop working even though he's like in his 60s.
That's my dad's gonna be the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tripping me out. So it's like it's really cool to know that there's somebody else like that in out there that's like me. So it's pretty dope.
Dude, that is so crazy. Wow. I don't know how we never talked about it.
Me neither. Well, like I'm always coming and going because like I live so far away. I'm like I just want to beat traffic and like all the drunk drivers. I just want to go home after a show, and that's why I don't hang out in Daytona. That like I usually go like early, or
Mm-hmm.
like or like maybe like an hour before the show starts, and I drive out there, and then I just like leave like after I get all the photos of all the comics done, and I just leave and like no like just Irish goodbye, just not saying goodbye to anybody, just walk and go home. And I do that
Dude,
for like every scene, but everybody knows me though. It's weird. It's,
how your parents are well off now. When you were growing up, were they?
no,
See, dude, okay. Isn't it so weird? You're the only person I've ever been able to relate to on this. That okay. At what age did your parents start making money in your life?
it had to be in my teenage years.
Right, like 13,
Mm.
12. Okay, dude, this is exact. Okay, it is so weird to grow up poor. Like we were poor. Like my dad worked. We weren't poor. Don't. I'm not. My dad always was good. Like I wasn't like that, but not like we're some rich people. And then they started making like real money, and it's weird that people think that, and I was spoiled, I got shit, but like people think because your family's got money that you've grown up like that and you grew up rich. And like I grew up very, but I'm in the mind state of like I always felt bad. My parents spoiled me when I was young, but I felt bad about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like I remember my dad's always been like, we'll get you whatever. Like, let's get you cool cleats, whatever. And I remember my mom being like, those are $100-something or whatever, and not wanting them because like genuinely. My mom wasn't trying to make me feel bad. She was just being realistic. And I would get them and I hated it. And then it got to the point where I was like, oh, okay, those shoes don't matter anymore. My dad got those for me. And it was weird. But I always felt bad about it. You know? Like I have that mind state of a poor person, but not a rich person. Like I still feel like if I have $1,000 in my bank account, which is so funny because like that's nothing, but like that makes me feel like I'm good. Like if my bills are paid and I have an extra $1,000, I feel like that's like the bare, like I'm perfect, bare minimum, you know? And that's not rich people thinking. Like, you know, like rich people hear $1,000 and freak out. There's people listening to this right now and hear that. And it's okay, I have more than $1,000. But like, I don't know. People think that I'm this like golfer, spoiled kid. And I did it. I had the country club, but I didn't until I was 14. You know what I mean? So I felt bad when my parents got the membership, you know? Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, well, not really, because like my parents were never part of a country club,
But
but
okay,
they were
but
just
when your
always
parents,
working.
did they buy you shit? Like, if your parents, what are you into that was expensive?
Well, they really at the time I was like interested in a PlayStation 2, and but I saved all my tips that I made from the drive-through and being like a waiter when my sister was on her hangover, and like I would just save those tips because I would run the restaurant by myself, just except for
See,
cooking.
that's
And
true.
then
We would work also. Like, I've never not worked. I've always
same here.
done, like, always done this. I was stripping wallpaper as a really young kid. Because when my mom had chemo, I'd go with my dad to work. So, like, it was just, people don't get it. It's like our parents made money off of legitimate, like, blue collar hard work, not like some white collar shit. So we saw them busting ass, you
And
know?
yep, and it
Like,
was contagious because then
right.
like
Like, the idea of hard work is huge to me. Like, really big. Like, a comic, when I see comics not trying new stuff ever because they're not working and writing, especially at my mic where it's the same people and we're like regulars and it's an open mic and there could not be an audience. There might sometimes be only comics and they're doing the same set over and over. And I understand working a set, but you're doing verbatim every time for months now. Like, what are we doing here? Like that, I
yeah,
really cannot respect that at all.
it's like how
That's why I
often are
like
you?
Cross because he takes chances.
Yep.
He tries shit.
It's like, how often are you gonna polish this turd? And so it's like, but yeah, there's people in the audience. So if you'd like to jump in the audience, a chat, just more than welcome to. But be nice to us. But like you said, like when I'm at my homeroom in Daytona Beach, the Nog, like I will start off with like new stuff, and
Mm.
then I'll go, hey, crowd, like because everyone knows my jokes and they have like their favorites. So I'm like, I'll turn the tables on you guys and you and ladies, and tell me what you want to hear, and I'll say that joke for them. And
Yeah,
then
that's totally different though. Like I'm talking like we're all new and working on like there's not a person in the world who's gonna show up and even be able to name a joke that we could rehearse for them. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? It's not like we have any sort of following. And then you're in a room with people who have seen what you're doing. So you're not going to get you're not going to get a reaction out of them. And you're insecure about bombing, which I understand, but you're insecure about bombing in front of them because you want them to book you or whatever. And you do the same fucking set you always do, and then you bomb and don't get it. And it's like, I just, it really bothers me, dude. Like, that's one thing about running this mic that I get really upset. Like, last night, I changed it because, you know, you make a list, one through whatever, and people sign up to go.
mhm.
This is why I love you. You come there and you put your fucking name in the first slot. Okay? You know how many people wait? Like, it's never not happened. You're the only one who puts their name first. The first person to sign up has never put their name first. They put it 4, always 5. And it's like, okay, first of all, let's talk about open mics, right? The energy in that room is only good at the beginning, right?
Mhm.
That's the only time the crowd's there. You're putting your name fourth for whatever reason. The 3 people who go before you are open micers. Chances are they're not going to do so good and that energy is going to go away. I don't I don't understand it, dude. Like I started people were signing their name last night, and I didn't tell anyone I was doing this, and then I cut all their names up and put them in a hat and pulled their name out.
That should scare him.
Dude, it just bothers me. Like, people, who do they think it's an open mic. No one's here to necessarily see anybody. There's not a headliner. Going last is the worst spot. Going late, the first 3 spots are the only where you for sure, undeniably have a chance. No matter what, your first 3 spots. After that, if those first 3 people sucked, that crowd might not even be there anymore.
Well, I have a confession to make. I only signed up first because I wanted to do 3 mics in one night, and I went to Justice Pub first, and then you, and then I went to the Nog. So it was like Jacksonville, Daytona, and I had to. And then I never go up first or in the middle at the Nog ever, like the past couple months, because I love going last, and because all the drunks and the hecklers are gone away, and so it's just me and the people that are serious about comedy. And so,
okay, but that's that room because there's people there drinking. At my place, it's a CBD cafe, so there's no drinking. If anything, people are high. Like, no one's there. People don't show up. Like, people aren't walking in and go, oh, there's a comedy show. What's happening is people go, oh, there's an open mic, which this is good because people are coming there only for comedy. So that is good. The audience is there strictly for comedy. But they're not staying. They're not randomly showing up. Like, you only have them at the beginning. And other rooms, like I did Shantytown on Monday before Randogs, which is back, baby. But thanks to you. Thank you for telling me about that.
You're welcome.
So when you texted me, I just got off stage at Shantytown, and I'm in that mindset of this is a shit open mic, which I love it. But I'm saying, like, the amount of people, like Shantytown can't fit a bunch of people. So I usually I'm like, oh, I'll just go first or whatever, second. Like, I'll go as early as possible. And then I leave. And I've never been there late and seen that a bunch of people come. And, dude, I walked in there. It was packed. There was like 20 people in there. Whole place filled. I was like, what? This is awesome. So I get it. But, like, specifically at my place, that's why it bothers me. It's because people aren't doing it because they're thinking, oh, people are going to be here later. Like, they're doing it for a reason that I genuinely do not understand. Like, if you came to the cafe knowing, I don't know, I guess you've never been there until you came. But, like, that first time, if you had nothing to do, you wouldn't have put your name early?
Pretty much. Because I had to rush down to Daytona. And
I'm saying if you didn't have to do any of that.
Oh, if I didn't have to, I'd probably, I'd stay for the whole thing because I take pictures of everybody, and that's what I'm known for. And then I'd leave.
I stay for the whole thing, too, but I'm talking, okay, it's different for you. You're seasoned. I'm talking suggesting a route for a young comic developing. Is the first couple slots not the best for those people to have a chance? You're good. You know what you're doing. You don't need people to be forced to engage. That you're going to demand their attention and they're going to get it. We're starting. We don't know what we're doing. Like, I feel like, I don't know. It bothers me.
I feel like up and coming in the new comics, it's just best to stay for the whole show.
I'm not saying not stay for the whole show. I'm saying get up early. Stay for the whole show. The best part is the hang. I'm saying,
absolutely.
For you to develop what your material is and see if it's actually funny, should you be signing up early? That's what I think. Like, you should be signing up early, but I might be wrong.
Indeed. Well, the people that usually do sign up early live in like big cities where they can hit up like 3 mics in one night or 5 mics in one night. That's what I've known so far.
Okay, then let's talk about this then. Why is it? Am I the only person that thinks this way? I don't think I'm probably wrong.
You can. Well, everyone thinks differently.
Like, why does every comic not want to go first.
because it's scary and it's called biting the bullet, and it's just nobody wants to break that ice. And I've done it so many
I
times,
do.
and I've done it so many times, and I'm like, I'll freaking bite the bullet. I don't care what order I'm going. I can be first, middle, or last. I am gonna set the bar, and and people are scared to go first because they don't know what jokes will land. Like that's what happened with me at Rain Dogs, like on Monday night. Like Chris went up there and his jokes, his new stuff didn't land because he was, pandemic and he didn't do anything for like
Mm-hmm.
the longest. And then Steven went up there and nothing hit. And I'm like, I go up next after Steven and like, all right, I asked the crowd, like, you guys want dirty jokes? Because my new stuff isn't landing. And they're like, yes, we want dirty jokes. And then that's when I knew that the room wanted dirty stuff. And so I gave them all of my dirty stuff. And I got like 2 applause breaks and people were laughing and dying. And it was just like, and then I brought Will up because I'm like, I know Will can like follow me and destroy this place.
That's right when I got there.
Yeah, out of all the people that are on that list, Will's going to be my dude that can just like, you know, he's like the highlight. And then Crespo
I
went up
love Will.
there and all that stuff, and it just started. The person that goes up first, or like or not even first, it could be third or fourth. But like when people are bombing in front of them, that like it happened to me like once already in Orlando, and as soon as I hit those jokes, it changed the whole vibe of the room, and like everybody started killing after me, and it's just like,
Dude, when you went at Rain, I didn't know what was happening before that. Obviously, I wasn't there. I just had the best set I've ever had at Shantytown, so I felt on fire, right?
mm-hmm.
When I showed up, Will was on stage, and like I was saying, Will's one of those people that, like last night, I talked to him for 2.5 hours. Like he's so cool to talk to and such a wealth of knowledge for me. And I was so excited to see him on stage. And then that whole thing happened with that girl.
Yeah.
But that was so lucky for me because she didn't know what she was doing and just said my name.
Mm.
Chris put the list. So I don't know Chris. I met him and he was really cool. But in this moment, he has no idea who I am at all. So I just asked him to go on while Will's on stage. So he just put my name at the top. Like he wrote my name and then he went up there, put it down. So my name is now at the top of the list. She doesn't understand that you're picking a random person.
Mm-hmm.
So she, like, I don't think I would have gotten picked that night. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I just got there. Like, Will's on stage. I guess he brings the girl up because I smoked a cig. I missed it.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I go, Will's on stage. So funny. I was cracking up and I go smoke a cig. Come back and this girl's on stage. Bombing so hard.
Yeah.
I don't understand that Will just brought her up. I don't know that she's this heckler. I think she's an actual comic. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I think Brennan told me, yeah, this girl's wasted. She's not a real comic, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was so happy when she said my name, dude. Because like I said, no one knows me there. It's my first time. I get it. No one knows me. And I was like, I'm also green as hell. So I was like, I'm not getting picked tonight. There's no way. And fucking, she said my name. And I rushed up there because I did not want any mistakes to be made. You know what I mean? For her to, and I instantly was just like, she didn't even know she was bringing me up. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know why she said my name. But
Me
she
neither.
did not understand why I was on stage.
Yep.
Like I told her, I'm here to relieve you of your duties, you know? And she like didn't get it. So I said it again to her. And she still didn't want to get off stage. It was weird.
Yep.
Like,
and
I don't understand why she wanted to be up there. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever seen anyone have.
Yeah. And like she, I felt bad for it because like, well, she heckled everybody like in front of me and behind me except for me, and because like I was just the applause breaks and everything, and she just kept her mouth shut and everything, and I was like, when you walked up on stage and she was like, she was like, "All right, what's this?" And I'm like, "It means you get off the stage."
Yeah, that was good. Dude, I've never in my life, and I'm sure I'll see it again, but up until this point, I have never seen, like I said, I think she is a comic. I
Hmm.
don't think she's this drunk girl. When people were telling her to just get the fuck off stage, shut the fuck, like, dude, I did not, I was like, what the fuck is happening? You know? I was like, what did she do to make everyone tell her to, like, I've never seen, like, not, the majority of the audience verbally said something to her.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the audience. And it just, people kept saying stuff, and I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't. So I don't know if you've ever seen me like go off on people.
Not yet.
You won't. You probably won't. I did
Oh,
it at
okay.
Aromas the other night. This dude wanted to fight me, but it was weird. He was a piece of shit, like heckling everybody. The bar manager, when I closed out, he like grabbed the mic from me and was like, "Man, motherfuckers like you are why like we ban people and all." Like, he hated him. Like, this dude was against everybody. But I used to, especially at my place, because like it's CBD, because I felt like I have to shut people up for the other comics. Dude, I used to go off on people, tell them to shut the fuck up, and I tried to be funny. Like, I thought it was funny. Like, I wasn't being genuine, but I come off so genuine and real. People think I'm serious, so I'm like yelling at these people, and it's terrible. Like, I did not want to do that to that girl. I didn't say anything about her when she got off stage, and I wanted to, but I've had so many experiences where shit like that happens, where there's that one person and you just start ripping them, and then the crowd just turns on you all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's why I
Like,
just brush off all the hecklers, and I'm just like, people that are like the mean, aggressive comics, or the people that just like I hate comics or hecklers. I mean, the comics that hate hecklers, I'll just have them handle it because I'm
yeah.
like,
It depends on what's happening. Like, I don't mind you saying something. It's a disrespectful thing, you know? Like, if anything, I have my little set that I can do. Like, I have all these little different 5 minutes, which is what bothers me about other comics. It's like, okay, that are at my level. It's like, you're not developing any other 5 minutes. You're just doing the same fucking 5 minutes. Like, come on, dude. But I lost it. Oh, it gives me more material. Like, if I'm talking about something and someone comments on it, I'm all about going on that ride and let's see what happens, because like I already know what this is. The only way I'm going to find something more is by this happening. Like, I'm not going to yell at that person, but if somebody's like continually trying to make it clear that they're not enjoying it or saying shitty stuff, then it's like, fuck you. And now, I used to be like, man, what the fuck, like, fuck you, but think it was funny, like trying to be funny, being like a funny asshole, and that's not good for my, like, me on stage. It's not a good look. Like, it doesn't translate well. I'm not the guy that can be the mean funny guy. It doesn't work for me. So what I've been doing is being like the, what's wrong, dude? Like, what did I do? Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that dude at Aromas, I told him, I was like, what's wrong, dude? Like, he was like, there's one point in my set, I was doing well, too. That's what was so annoying. So there's these girls by the stage sitting next to him who had just gotten there. They're not with him. They were hot girls, and they just gotten shots. And next to the stage is this little table that's in between me and them. And I put my drink there as I'm like beginning. I haven't even talked. And the first thing I say is, hey, ladies, like, we're sharing this table. And I'm like, oh, nice. What are y'all drinking? Make a comment on it. And he like scoffs and rolls his eyes. So I can see that he doesn't like me because he thinks I'm hitting on these girls and he wants to hit on them, whatever. And I ignore it. I'm doing my set. And he, like, at one point goes, Auburn's going to be good this year. Like, when there's, like, you know what I mean? Like, while I'm doing a setup. And then when I do the whacking off next to my grandma's story, he he go I told it different this time because I'm trying to change something. Jesus Christ, not verbatim bullshit all the time. And I was like, I started out by talking about masturbating, you know, and then leading into the grandma thing. So when he goes, let me guess, you're whacking off, or he said, yeah, masturbating with your grandma, you know, and that's when I was like that table's right there, so I just put my elbows on the table and like I had the mic, and I was like, what's wrong, dude? And it worked. The crowd never left my side. It might have been because he was such a piece of shit the whole night and everyone hated him. Like everybody after the show was telling me like, thank you for calling that guy out. Like we hated him. Like all these audience members. It was I'd never seen anything like it where people were literally like, that guy sucked. Fuck him. You know what I mean? Because he got contentious and they had to start playing music because there was a fight there last week and they didn't want there to be another one, obviously.
I saw the video with Brendan, and so I'm like, that's why like I don't do mics or shows at venues that have cigarette smoking inside. That's why you don't see me at Shantytown. You don't see me at Aromas. You don't see me in all those places. And just like, and the heckler was starting smoking Rain Dogs. You can't smoke at Rain Dogs. I'm like, oh, this lady's just pissing me off. And I'm glad like everyone grilled her from the stage. But let's go to Happy Thoughts. And you ran into your own podcast. You ran your own podcast from 2006 to 2020, and it's called Couch Talk on YouTube. And what were those years like?
I I was a drug addict for a lot of it, and then I wasn't. It was like there's a part in there where it's cool to look back on it, like what I perceive to be the best times of my modern life. Like there's before my mom and after my mom. And after my mom, undeniably the best time of my life is in that time. But a lot of it I hate to go back and watch because I was a drug addict, you know, like I did heroin and like I don't know. I don't like watching it. I only if I ever go back, because I still love this girl, so like I'll go back and be like, wow, like this is so crazy to see that like I was this happy, you know? Like I'm happy now in terms of like doing what I want to do, you know? And like being clear-minded from not doing heroin, like that's cool, but that time was just I wasn't doing comedy. It was just like I don't know, man. It was really cool. But that's only a short time of it. The other parts of it, I was on and off of drugs, acting like I wasn't. Obviously, I wasn't open about that. I talked about because I was a drug addict before that, so I talked about it, and I would talk about things that were happening in the past tense, you know, and just like it was a good podcast. People did enjoy it. Like I made money off of it with Patreon. People like a lot of people would listen. It was regular. Like it did well, you know. Like it wasn't crazy, but I have like I don't know how many. I think I have like 200 something subscribers on YouTube. Like it's not crazy, but I wasn't even a comic. Like I was literally just a person who started doing a podcast, and it turned into something. So I like it. It's not like I look back on it and I hate it. But it's why I'm a comic, because those doing solo episodes were like, okay, I was like, okay, I can do this. You know, like I can. I feel like I have stuff to say, and I want to do stand up finally. But I don't know, dude. It sucks. It sucks to hate who you were so much because of what you did, like what you were doing. I mean, you know, like I like the conversations I was having were so great, and like the content's awesome. But I look at it as like, man, like when I take a bathroom break here, I really don't have to pee. I'm just like going to the bathroom to get high or whatever, you know, like that sucks. But the content is or was way better than I thought it would be, to be honest. I mean, I suggest listening to it. Like, if you are interested in me, like, that's a good play. Like, I was completely open and honest. Like, I lied about being on drugs, but I talked about, like, there was, you see me, dude. You, like, I don't have a filter in terms of me talking about myself. I'm hesitant to talk about other people, but I will talk about myself. And yeah, that's me. You know, you can find out a lot about me. Um, through the solo episodes especially. But I think I'm gonna bring it back, like, with just solo episodes. But I enjoy interviewing, not interviewing, but conversating with people, like having a conversation. I never
Yep.
considered. I told people, it's not an interview. So I don't know, but
Indeed. Like
I think I'm gonna
I
bring it back. But I'm not gonna say that I am for sure, and then not do it and look like a bitch. You know.
Indeed. Like I started off with one called the Pueblo's Independent Multimedia Podcast. And it's a long name, but the acronym is
Yeah.
PIMP. And so that's why I
Is
liked
who?
it. PIMP.
Pimp. That's even better.
Yeah. And so it kept on evolving and I started doing like, Stories on Sunset where I talked about like, the stories that didn't make the article that I wrote when I was a concert journalist in LA and like all the crazy like famous folks that I was running into all the time on Sunset Strip. And then like the Wu Manchu Chronicles and just kept on evolving and I finally got the stand up speakeasy, which is like this is the 99th episode and I didn't think it would like last this long and it just went by so fast.
Yeah,
And
dude. Like,
just let it evolve into another podcast and
so this is weird. So I have 374 something episodes,
mhm.
and I really have more than that because I would do smoke breaks and solo smoke breaks, all these little things. And it's like if I bring it back, I can't not call it Couch Talk. Like that's way too fucking good of a name.
It
Like
is.
I'm just literally gonna call it CJ Couch Talk because that's my Instagram or Instagram at whatever handle. That's my name on like it. That's it. Like it's perfect.
Yep.
But do I just start back at one? You
I
know?
would
Yeah.
start
Just do
all over.
solos.
Yeah,
Cause
and
dude, it's kind of perfect because it's CJ Couch Talk. It's just me.
yep,
Nice. I didn't even think about that.
yep,
Nice.
indeed. So do it all like just in because like I didn't continue pimp at all. I just kept on like changing the name to see which one would be best. And
Mm.
I've had such a joy with this one because I'm interviewing comics from coast to coast. And now I have like a huge network of just comics from coast to coast now. And because like
Yes.
I did a lot for this scene in Florida, and now it's just trying to branch out and just in case I move, just to spend those 12, times in those cities, 12 in those 12 cities, I'll have friends in those cities, and I wouldn't be the only one there, and I won't feel so lonely. So now I have
Mm.
those cities.
Seriously. But
Yeah.
beyond that, like for yourself, when you're retired in Colorado and settled down, to go back is so cool. Like this sounds like such a I am a sad boy. I'm just gonna own it, dude. Like I miss this girl, And I said this on stage the other night. Like, it's bad when like you've been in love with someone for double the amount of time that you're even with this person.
Hmm.
Like, what the fuck? Like it's terrible. But dude, like to go back and watch like that because she came on like a lot. She would do stuff with me on there, and she'd come on solo episodes and stuff. And she'd been on a lot. And to go back and watch it, it's this weird thing of like it's like validating that it was that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I look back on it, when you look back on stuff and you're like, oh, I'm just nostalgic with that. Like it actually wasn't that good. But to like go back and see like the reality that like I see the way that I was looking at her and the way we were looking at each other and how much fun we were having. And it was what I thought it was. We broke up. I relapsed and fucked up and I didn't cheat, nothing like that. Like I'm not that dude. I used to be. And maybe I still would, but like it's weird. Like when I was with her, it's weird. There's people are like once a cheater, always a cheater. But I think like if you find somebody, I also believe in a sexual ceiling. So like if you fuck enough, like if you get, your number might be 20 girls, it might be 3,000, it might be 5, whatever. But once you've hit that number, you don't care about the game of chasing pussy. You're not trying to get pussy. Like I've never chatted some girl up after a show for a long time trying to fuck her. Like I don't care, you know? But with that girl, never once did I even want, like, other girls would be hot and I'm like if they're quote unquote hotter than she was, so yeah, but like they're not even like 100th of as cool. Like, so I think when you're in a real relationship, cheating's not even like an idea. Maybe you get fucked up and drunk and you meet some girl at a bar and you guys fuck up. But even then, I feel like, what are you, blacked out? Like, I don't know. But so that's gonna be cool for you to look back on this and maybe whatever. I don't know what's going on in your life, but it is very cool to go back and have shit like this for us. Beyond how cool it is to be doing it in the moment and help people and they listen and they get something out of it. It's cool selfishly. Like it's turned around days for me where I've been having a really bad day and I've gone back and I will watch an episode and for that like 2 hours I am cracking up because you have a different context, you know what I mean? Like you remember the moments and like what you were thinking, and that's just funny. It's the coolest thing to have. Like everyone should have a podcast. I really think that. Not because it'll afford them anything in life, but it will, give you that nostalgic thing on a crazy level.
Indeed. And for this episode, we're raising funds for the Ovarian Cancer Project. And why did you choose the Ovarian Cancer Project to raise funds for this episode?
My mom died of ovarian cancer in 2012. And it was actually, she was really like into baby powder thing. Like she'd put it on sheets. She did a bunch of shit. So that whole talcum powder lawsuit thing, we never did it. My dad would like never do like sue somebody. I've been sued, but he would never do that. And she got it. We're guessing. I mean, it's pretty undeniable that she got it from talcum powder because she got it at 27 years old. And then my mom died of ovarian cancer. I want to give the money to ovarian cancer.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we're raising funds from and stuff like that. And then from podcasting, you jumped right into comedy. And what inspired you to perform stand-up comedy?
So going way back, like I said, like I loved it. Like XM radio, especially when that first came out, we'd always get it in our cars and like, or my parents would. And when we would take road trips, we would just listen to like raw dog comedy. I'm talking 8 years old. Like my parents were cool, dude. So we're like, listen, I was always listening to it. And from here to Chicago, we're listening to, but not only that, we're bonding over the laughter. I thought it was so cool. I didn't consider stand-up, but once I was listening to podcasts and I listen to all stand-ups, And then I started watching Kill Tony for years and I was like, okay, I always loved stand-up, but I never, like I said, I didn't understand how you did it. I thought it would be cool to do it, but I didn't know what it was really. I was wrong about it. I thought these are funny people. I knew they wrote shit. I didn't think they were just up there talking, but I didn't know the development. Kind of like an actor. Like I don't see how someone just ends up booking a role. Like how do you go from nobody to booking roles? Like it's crazy. But the podcast, listening to them taught me, okay, like this is what you do. You start going to open mics. And I wanted to do it. And that girl I was talking about, she thinks I'm hilarious. I think she's genuinely funnier than me. Like she's a genius, like really good. I think she could be a comedy writer undeniably. But like she didn't push me into it because I didn't do it when I was with her, but she highly suggested it. Like highly. And once we broke up and stuff, I was like, all right, I'm doing this. I'm gonna do
Indeed.
stand up, and one day she's gonna see my special on Netflix in 40 years, and she's gonna get back with me.
And what was the feeling like when you first performed stand up?
I bombed, dude. It was. It wasn't. I said this on Brennan's podcast. It wasn't the bomb feeling. It was perplexity. I was perplexed, dude. I was like, why didn't this work? Because of the solo podcast thing. I was like, okay, I'm doing this multiple times a week just by myself, no idea what I'm going to talk about, and it's an hour and a half, 2 hours later, and I just did a solo episode. People are messaging me, telling me they love it. I can do this. I don't need material. I thought of some funny ideas that I talked about on the podcast. And I was like, so confident, dude. I'm talking like disgustingly confident that I was going to crush. My roommate and his fiance that I live with now, they came with me. Like, I was like, you guys, I am going, like I said this, I am going to fucking destroy tonight. Like, I'm going to kill. You have no idea. Like, this is the beginning of a career. Like, I'm going to be so good. I was saying that, dude. And I went up there and I bombed, but I didn't get it. And I just thought about it and I was like, okay, I need to like write jokes. So I wrote a bunch of one-liners, went to the next, like my first time doing CBD, and didn't do bad, but didn't do great. And I felt that bomb feeling of you telling jokes and the audience not laughing, but it wasn't because they didn't get it. That was the difference. The first time I did comedy and I bombed, that first time I thought, oh, they just don't get what I'm doing. So it didn't feel like that bomb. That sick feeling when you say a joke and you look in someone's eyes and they just, it's this look of, I get it, but it's not funny. That's the worst feeling.
It is the worst feeling.
It's the worst feeling in the world. And I felt that feeling. And I loved it in the, I hate myself, but like, it's not that. It was like a challenging thing. I was like, okay, I know I'm funny. I'm going to figure this out. Like, I'm funny, and this is the art form. Like, off stage, I consider myself funny. Like, I like to make people laugh. So if the actual art form is stand-up, like if you're a really funny person, like the funniest people, they're doing stand-up because that's what you do if you're really funny, I will figure this fucking out. So, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I bombed and was like, oh my God, like I'm never going to do this again. It was like, okay, I bombed and it sucked. It's the worst feeling ever, but I'm still living and it's not that bad. I'm willing to bomb a million more times.
Indeed.
You know, I expect to bomb a million more times. Like, but I understood that was the only way because like I bombed so much at the beginning, but I kept getting better and better. Like my jokes were getting better, and it just like I'm not great now in any sense of the word good. Okay,
Indeed.
but I'm better than I was. Like I get laughs. Like I feel like if you give me 10 minutes, I like my chances. But like I want it. Like I'm not where I want to be, but I love that challenge of wanting to prove that person wrong. You know, like now if I'm doing good and there's one person not enjoying it, like I'm literally not even looking at anyone else but that one person and telling my jokes to them. And try, like that's what I want is to make that person laugh. It's weird. Like I love that challenge. It's kind of sickening.
And so, that's what happened this past Friday in Palatka. There was just like, no one was like, I was bombing, but like my buddies, I'm like the comics comic, but they just like, they laugh at my jokes. And that was good.
Yeah, dude. No, like people, if you understand comedy, you're not gonna not like you're gonna laugh at you, like what you're doing up there.
Indeed. And so, you've listened to a bunch of stuff on satellite radio and growing up on Comedy Central, and what are your favorite comedy specials and comedy record albums?
So when it comes to like specials, like video, You gotta think, when I'm listening to XM radio, I'm a young kid. It's not like how today is, and I go, oh, that, I don't remember names, but all the obvious ones, like, that got me started, like Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan, fucking Dane Cook, all these comics that are great, whatever, but not like in any way what I do or consider my likings of comedy. But they started me. But like Patrice, always like, I remember just being like really fascinated by Patrice. Like Patrice O'Neill. And then I found out about Bill Burr. And obviously, you know what I mean? But now, like I don't watch comedy at all. Like I don't watch, and it's not like I don't give a fuck about. I don't. I don't want something to get in my head. Like I really pride myself on originality with my jokes. Like I want to try to do what I'm doing. I really try to talk about my life. Like when Cross's mom was like, you, she's like told Cross like, what's his last name? Like I'm listening to this. It has to be like I want somebody who, like in that situation, who knows my family based off my material going, oh, that's that kid, because it's so much about my life, you know? I don't even know what I'm saying, but that style of comedy wasn't what I liked first at all. I liked jokes and whatever, but I loved like Patrice, and then like I loved listening to interviews a lot. Like I've always loved watching comics get interviewed. And when they would have interviews, like I remember I heard we were driving. I don't even remember who it was. It might have been Opie and Anthony. I have no fucking idea, dude. But we were driving to West Virginia. Excuse me. And that's when I'd heard Patrice's bits. Okay, this is before Elephant in the Room or whatever. I'd heard his bits randomly through it, and I liked it. But he was interviewed, and I remember like thinking it was the coolest thing I'd ever fucking listened to in my life. Because we were in the car, me, my mom, and dad, cracking up, laughing hard, and then listening hard. It was essentially like a podcast, you know? It might have been Opie and Anthony. I do not know. I was so young. But I just remember like thinking that was so cool that this dude is being so funny, and in the same sentence that just made me laugh so fucking hard, I related to it, and it was something that I never thought anyone had ever else experienced. But when you talk about your own experiences, everyone's experienced them, so people relate to it. And it was, I don't know, I'm not explaining it well. A little jeebed out. I'm getting spacey with it, but I I thought Patrice O'Neill was the most fascinating dude when I was like 10. And that's like, I guess what got me into comedy is like relishing it, you know? And then seeing my family laugh. Like we would always, like I watched Dumb and Dumber with my family 200 times, you know? Like laughter was always highly regarded in my house. My dad's funny. My mom was fucking hilarious. Like my dad has that entertainer thing where he wants to like make all of his friends laugh and be like, my mom's the same way. Like, so funny was important to me. You know, I saw that as very important. So I put a lot of regard into it, and or I held it in high regard. And once I'd fucked my life up and I realized that I'm past the point of becoming that super successful whatever dude that I don't even know what it would be because I have no interest in anything like that. I was like, comedy is what I've always really loved, and I just had to do it, you know?
Indeed.
I was so scared to do it for so long.
You spoke of Dumb and Dumber, and I want to know what are your other favorite comedy, your favorite sitcom sketch shows and comedy films?
Um, so I loved Cosby Show. Like, I've seen every episode of Cosby Show, dude. Um, Old School. I watched Old School with my friends. Like, that was one of those that if you slept at my house when we were growing up, we watched Old School. Money Talks. Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen. Just all the typical shit. Like, Will Ferrell was really funny, and I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I'm older, like, but Will Ferrell just doesn't really do it for me anymore. Like, nothing. Stand up's like the only thing that makes me laugh. Like, I don't. Sketches are funny, whatever. But as I got older, even before comedy, like me doing stand up, movies weren't really doing it for me anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Saturday Night Live, like, does it suck or has it always sucked and I'm just looking at the world different? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really enjoy anything like that anymore. Everything I watch is like a serious drama now. Like, I don't know. What comedies do you watch now that are you feel worth watching?
It's rare. I don't watch
Dude,
comedy either.
that's what I'm saying.
They don't make me laugh anymore. Like I'll just put on Dumb and Dumber and Tommy Boy and be happy, and I'm like,
Dude,
where are those?
so, I feel like you already know this, but you know in Dumb and Dumber when he's at the bar at 10 in the morning and he walks out and he goes, "No way! We landed on the moon!" Right?
Mm.
Do you know that story?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's just a fucking like filler prop that they put right there. The scene was supposed to be he walks out the door. He's walking out the door, he sees that and does that. Okay? How fucking badass is that, dude? To just it's like one of the funniest moments in that movie to me forever. Like that's always made me laugh so hard because it's just how do you think of that? Like I remember always thinking like how the fuck did they write that? Like that's crazy writing to put that there just for that one joke. And then to know that it just happened off of this like brilliant improvise, like I'm going to improvise here and let's just see. And apparently he did it and it crushed hard as fuck, like obviously. And they had to do it again. Like imagine that's what's cool about like what we do in a way. Not that we're acting, but like when you've seen a set of your friends a bunch of times and some random thing happens and they do this joke differently all of a sudden. Maybe something happens in the room and they're in the middle of this joke and all of a sudden, like last night, Jamar, he was talking about the McDonald's and he goes, that I usually eat at this McDonald's after the show and there's police tape all around it. I hope it's just because somebody got murdered and not everyone's arrested because the food's dirty or whatever, right? And somebody got stabbed 13 times like an hour before that and he did not know.
Dang, that's
But like
crazy.
that moment in that room when he came late, people were talking about this person who got stabbed 13 times, right? Like it was a thing. We all knew, we assumed that he said it because somebody got stabbed 13 times. And then when it crushed, he's like, why is it that funny? And I go, dude, yeah, somebody got stabbed 13 times and he didn't know. Like those moments are priceless. Like we're so lucky to have that. Like that moment where Jim Carrey sees this fucking thing and we landed on the moon. Like, dude, imagine being there for that. Like how funny that would be. Like that's one of the greatest experiences in life. Like that moment last night, I'll never forget that. Because Jamar sincerely did not know that someone just got murdered. You know, he just made the joke. And I don't even know if I said it right. Sorry, Jamar. But it was just a throwaway thing. He was just saying it, you know? And that's what I love. I love those little moments. Like, we're lucky, dude. Whether you succeed at this, like when I say you, it's like, not the royal you or whatever. Like, how cool is it to have these moments? It's so fun, dude. Like hanging out till 2 in the morning, not drinking, you're not smoking a bunch of weed. You're just standing there talking, cracking up. Like, that's better than what's better than that in life? Like, oh, going and playing golf, I guess.
Indeed.
Playing around at Pebble Beach, like, I guess.
Yeah, but that's why I wish I lived in a bigger town because then I would experience that. But I just want to get home and because I'm old and I just want to go to bed. But
Yeah.
and if you can go on tour with any comedian locally and internationally known, which comedians would you like to go on tour with?
Locally, one local and one international.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so are these people that have that are able to tour? Like me and Will Blaylock, I have great conversations with him. Like, I'm talking about the hang of it. Like, their comedy, I obviously think Will's funniest dude. Like, he fucking makes me laugh so hard. But hanging out with him's so fun. Crespo, like, is really fun. I love hanging out with you. Brennan and me get along really well. I just met Chris Buck. Like, that's the answer. Local comic. I want to tour with Chris Buck. But the reality is, I don't know Chris. Like, he's cool. But right now, people that I know, like, I would want to go on tour with like Will because he's a fun guy to hang out with. You know, um, going on tour with like a famous person, dude. Going on tour with Bert would be so funny. Like Bert Kreischer would be just so fun. Like going on that tour bus and having those experiences, because he's a lot like me. Like I'm about the hang, right? And with the because at that level you're hanging with a bunch of girls and stuff, but he's married and doesn't cheat apparently and stuff like that. Like I know Mark Norman. We were talking about him last night. Like I love Mark Norman. Don't get me wrong, but like I would love to go on tour with him, but he's apparently like this crazy puss hound and like loves fucking a bunch of girls and stuff. And like I wouldn't want to go and have to do that. Like that's not what I like to do. You know what I mean? Like I like the hang of it. So like going out with, but I like being around hot ass girls and flirting with them and stuff. But I'm terrible, scared of closing, and also like we're just fucking randomly. Like this leads to nothing. Like I've had sex before. It's great. I want to have it, but it's not like it's more fun to me to hang. So going with Bert would be like you're with all these people. You're having so much fun. You're the life of the party. Bert's probably paying for everything. Thank God. And fucking you're with these hot ass girls, and then you just go in the tour bus. Bye, girls. And then we're just gonna eat an edible and watch shit, and that's perfect, Like I think the tour bus thing would be cool. Like that's a big sell on going on tour with Bert for me. I mean, clearly Chappelle would be cool, Rogan would be cool, but like going on tour with Bill Burr, like, what if he didn't like me? Like I know Bert's gonna like me. I don't like Bill Burr's my favorite comic. Is he gonna like me? I doubt it, so it might not be that fun to go on tour with him, like, but that's what I think of when it comes, like, I'd love to go on tour with fucking Dave Chappelle so I could get in front of 100,000 people, but I'd really like to go on tour with Bert and just have fun and hang, like, that would be so cool.
And I love his laugh too. And
Yes.
if you can get roasted by 5 comedians, past and present, which comedians would you get roasted by?
Roasted, Hinchcliffe. You watch Kill Tony?
I've seen a couple episodes.
David Lucas. I think it'd just be funny because I don't know. David Lucas, Tony Hinchcliffe. Got to do 5. Not. I mean, if we're gonna go with I don't really care because like those people that did the roast, you know, like like Greg Giraldo isn't like a roast comic, you know? Like I feel like he's an easy answer. Like maybe not get I guess yeah, just get shitted on. Like to get shit on by like Dave Attell, you know? Like I feel like he would like have just a funny thing to say about me. You know what I mean? Like um Burr would shit on me. Like all those not necessarily roasting, but just that fun, like because when I think of roasting, I'm thinking like, are you talking about like they do a bunch of jokes about me? Like, you know what I mean? Like in the roast style or just one line? Like I would love one line from Dave Attell, you know? But I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess Dave Attell, Hinchcliffe, David Lucas. Um, I think, mm, I don't know. I'm not even going to name five. I'm done with it. Mount
Oh,
Rushmore.
it sounds good. And where do you see your comedy journey in the next 5 years?
What do I see me doing?
Yep. Comedy wise.
Uh, Open mics.
Fair answer, fair answer. And which other forms of comedy would you like to venture off into, like improv, sketch, comedy writing, acting, directing, etc.?
I'm sorry. Say that again. You broke up on me.
Oh, which other forms of comedy would you like to venture off into, like improv, sketch, comedy writing, acting, directing, etc.?
Um, I'd like to write, and like this, the only way I would do a movie is if it got to be about my life and I did everything for it. I have no desire to do a movie or act in any way. I have no desire to direct or write a movie script. I guess it'd be cool to write a movie script, but the reality is, I guess I don't really want to because I would have done it by now. Um, I would only want to if I somehow did so much in stand up that it they gave me the chance to just okay, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You're the main character, you're the director, you're the writer, like the main right. Like I would write it and then have a million people punch it, but like I don't know. That's the only way I have any desire to do anything like that. Like I'm just wanting to do stand up and
Cool.
podcasts and shit like that. I mean,
Indeed. And what is your favorite joke a comic has written?
mm, I mean, the genius of the kicker and the pussy thing, right? Chappelle's callback. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's pretty crazy to do that. Like that was, one of the most genius things I've ever seen happen. Um, but this moment, like the funniest joke I'd ever seen was when Bill Burr does the cruise ship bit, you know? So he'd just been done like roasting fat people and was basically saying that fat people and doing the whole like cruise ships, he would sink cruise ships, right? For population control. And because people that take cruises are pieces of shit and they're fat, whatever. We were sitting in front of a bunch of fat people. They hated it. They hated it. And Bill did not understand why people were looking at him like he was an asshole for saying that about cruise ships because he didn't know that this is a cruise ship city. We were the port of Carnival, and he literally addressed it. He goes, "What the fuck is this? Like, does everyone in here was the cruises here?" And there, like the moment of that where he said the joke, and it was so funny to me because I don't give a fuck. Like, why would that offend me? But to watch it offend other people, and then him obviously not understand why anyone would be offended by that joke, and people like, we're a cruise ship city. Like it was just so funny. And then he just started ripping on it, like I don't, I'm not good with like other people's material and remembering it. Honestly,
Same here.
I got one for you. Dan Venti, shout out Dan. He does a joke about. I don't want to burn it. I get Dan. I feel if you're mad at me for doing this, I'm sorry, but it's such a good joke, dude, and like I just don't think he would care. But it's about how like fashion trends are cyclical, you know, and kids in Asia are wearing like their teeth are glowing, they're putting like lights in their mouth and stuff, you know. And he said, you know, it's cool because kids in Asia they haven't been lit up like that since the 40s or whatever. Like they haven't been glowing. That's what it is. Kids in Japan haven't been glowing since the 40s. And the first time he said, like, we're all like, what the fuck is he talking about right now? And then he just hit that and is horribly, it's a great joke. It's not even offensive. It's just funny. It is offensive, but I think that's the best one right there.
For sure. And what experience would you like your audience to take with them after a set is over?
I guess that kid was not the douchebag we expected.
Perfect. And so let's see here, CJ. This is the stand-up speakeasy. It's the Prohibition, the Roaring Twenties. You got to know somebody to join the club. And with that being said, CJ, which comics in Jacksonville would you like to see on a future guest on stand-up speakeasy?
So, like, if I was hosting a show, who would I bring on?
Oh, for this show, who would you like to see on the show?
Oh, have you had Anna on?
Not yet.
Okay, she seems so cool to me, and every time I've ever like been around her, I've liked her, and we've talked, and it's been cool. But I don't know anything about her, and I'd like to get to know her. Like, I just think she'd be cool. Like I said, anytime I've ever been, the first night I met you is the first night I met her. Pretty positive she was there, and she's super cool, and I do not know her. Like, other than a few brief interactions that I know it's weird, but it's like, I think we could have fun conversations type thing. You know what I mean? So I'd like her to come on here, and maybe she won't be who I thought she was, and I won't have to be friends with her. No, I'm just kidding. You know, I just think it'd be cool to get to know her, you know, like on Brennan's podcast, Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I've gone back and listened to people that I know, and I learned so much about them. Like when I listened to Morgan's episode, I learned that me and her grandmother have the same, or my grandma and her grandma had the same last name, or the same first name. And we're both also half Latin. We've just happened to be white grandmas named Joyce. And I learned stuff about people. So I'd like to listen to Anna on here to learn about her.
Awesome.
I don't know anything about her.
For sure. I had my alter ego, Wu Manchu, that did the stand up the first time in LA. He got to interview Anna, so I'll send you that.
Cool.
So, but this is a brand new show, so maybe her answers have changed, but we'll definitely have her on the show for sure. And so for everyone that's watching at home, please follow CJ on Instagram, subscribe to his channel on YouTube, donate on his Cash App and his Venmo because I'm trying to raise funds for comics as well. And donate to the Ovarian Cancer Project.
Yeah, actually do that.
Everything is on the bottom of the description box below, so you can just copy and paste everything and just do all that good stuff. And with that being said, CJ, are there any final words you'd like to give out to the audience at home?
No, I just love you, dude. You're so cool. This is cool as fuck. If you're watching this, you're instantly cool just for like being into shit like this. You know, like this is a cool thing. Like support people that are doing stuff like this. Support Sarath. Like dude, you're one of the coolest people that I've met doing this, you know? Like when we hung out at Little Caesars, we hung out for like fucking an hour and a half in that parking lot with my dog, you know?
Yeah.
I lived a block away. You could have just came over.
He's like the coolest pup too, and it was awesome.
Yeah, my dog's great, dude. She's 8 years old this April.
Dang, that's next month.
Yeah, baby.
You should throw a birthday party and invite all the comics over.
Yeah, dude. I might just do a mic for her, you know? Let her host. She used to be the podcast dog. She might become the stand-up dog.
That'd be awesome.
Dude, Herman brought his dog to Shantytown 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, dude, I
but
love you, man. You're so cool. I really appreciate you.
Ditto, I love you too, and you're cool as well. And thank you for all this and opening up another open mic spot for everybody to just like showcase their talents, even if they say the same jokes. But I'll
Yeah,
try to
baby.
make that there like in April. But I'm taking like a hiatus for my mental health. So
Mhm.
I'm just tired of doing stand up for all this time.
So I'm sorry. I know we're trying to wrap it up. One thing, when you mentioned April 8th, what is the significance of that? Because I have a show then, and I did not tell you that, did I?
No, because like it was in the Instagram message that you sent me, and I was so confused. So I was like,
I
"What's
think I might have
April
meant to
8th?"
send that to somebody else.
Oh, well, you can
Yeah.
promote it if you want to. I mean, it'll probably come out around that time because I'm backlogged for like a month with this thing.
Oh, okay. April 8th, it's where Cheers in Mandarin used to be. It's a staple in Mandarin. It's right by Mandarin Road across from Publix. I don't know what it's called now, but Dan Venti just started doing a show there. The first show is April 1st. It's worth going to. Dan Venti's very funny. Crespo's going to be on that show. Marcus Crespo's fucking so funny. And then I'm going to be on the one the next week. I'm not too sure. I doubt this will be out by then, but I also have one the 26th, I believe. Josh Smith at Justice. Might be at Shantytown. It doesn't really matter. Follow me on Instagram at CJ Couch Talk, and that's where it'll be at.
Awesome, possum.
Yeah.
You heard the man. Follow him and all that good stuff and all that. And thank you so much, CJ, for being my guest. And for everyone else, stay safe. Take care of each other. We'll see you on the next episode of the Stand Up Speakeasy.
Later, everybody. Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome.